Hey, transportation family, this is Trevay Willis coming to you live from the Trevay Willis channel, TikTok, YouTube, all those good channels, guys. Guys, once again, as I say every single time that I get before you all, I'm thankful to be before you all with new content. 2024 is your year. It's not my year, it's your year, because guys, you are the ones that's out here making the dreams come true, and you are the ones that is got goals and aspirations and dreams to make things come to pass. Very excited to be able to shed some light on some things in this industry, not only in the non-emergency medical transportation world, but in the transportation in general. I've had years of experiences with the charter bus industry and the limousine industry. That's one sector that I was in before I was in the non-emergency medical transportation. We were big into that business. But I'm just, what makes me so happy is the fact that I could share my experiences on YouTube. I don't get up here and claim to be a guru, don't claim to be anything more than what I actually am. I just basically give you the experiences and try to deviate you all from the things that I either messed up in or the things that I see in this industry. I have made a lot of good things, done a lot of good things in this industry, but with anything that we do as human, we are always going to look back upon things and say, hey, I wish I would have done this a lot better than what I did. And I've made a couple, made some mistakes in the 19 years I've been in business. But, for the most part, we persevered, we overcame, and hey, we're still here, we're still ticking, we're still out on the road, we're still transporting, and life is all about learning. It's a learning thing. You learn and you get over it and you move on. So, as I mentioned, in 2023, I had a list of videos that I really wanted to focus upon, and this is one topic that a lot of people, ask me, and a lot of topics, I have them categorized according to the importance, but this one right here, I wanted to touch on, and it's basically talking about the rates. I've got 60 some videos, and I really haven't touched really deep upon rates with the non-emergency medical transportation world. And, I'm going to say it like this. I'm here in the South, being very blunt. I'm North Carolina, as you can hear the accent. And the transportation rates can differ from metropolitan areas to metropolitan areas. So I'm in a town that probably has about 300,000 to 400,000 people, where if you're looking on this video, you may be in California or somewhere to that nature. But you really have to, you can take what I say, but just always go and check, your local area to say, hey, I wonder what trades prices are saying. Is it close to what California has to offer, or Florida, or some cases like that, because every state is going to be a little different. So take what I say and, think about it, but also do your research upon it, because like I said, every area is different. As I mentioned, some time ago, you have your ambulatory, and then you also have your wheelchair side, and then you also have your specialties. Whenever you are in the non-emergency medical transportation world, it's not just a general thing. There's going to be things that you're going to do when you're in this industry that's going to be, it's kind of like a specialty. You find a doctor, you may have a doctor that specializes in ear, nose, and throat, and then you may find a doctor that focuses on the cardiovascular. So everybody, has that specialty that they do things a little different. In the non-emergency medical transportation world, we transport people to dialysis, but we're not big into the nursing homes. My company, RDU Medical Transportation Group, we more or less, we focus on a lot of bariatric clients, a lot of wide, XL people. I call them XL. Try to be respectful, but we try to cater to them And we also do a lot of out-of-state transports. A lot of companies don't like to do a lot of out-of-state transports. A lot of companies don't like dealing with bariatric clients. But when it comes down to wheelchair transportation, and I'm gonna be very thorough in this video because I want you guys to get it. Typically, if you are dealing with an ambulatory client, taking a person to their doctor's appointment and they could walk, typically what we would normally charge is $45 one way. And $45, 0 to 10 miles. Now, a lot of places, a lot of people, a lot of companies in different areas charge more. So don't scold me because you may seem like my price is lower, but that's just the market average in this area. So, 0 to 10 miles, $45. And then if we have to go over 10 miles, and I'm gonna say this elementary style, we normally charge like, $1.75 per mile. Now, if you get the person to the doctor and they want you to wait for them at the doctor's appointment, typically we like to charge $20 per hour to wait. So from the time you drop them off at the doctor's appointment is when the time starts for their waiting. Now, a lot of times people will set it up as a will call, where you drop them off, you can go do whatever, go pick up another client, but let the client know, just because I drop you off, it's not going to be no 2-3 minute turnaround time where I can come pick you up. You give them that expectation of, could be 15 to 20 minutes that I can get back to you. So when you drop them off at the doctor, that's considered as one leg. A lot of people look at it as taking them there and bringing them back as one trip. It's actually 2 trips. So you take them there, you drop them off, that's one leg, and you take them back, and it's one leg. So if you're charging them, let's say $45 for the one way, you're going to charge them $45 for coming back. So that's actually $90. Now, if they're going over 10 miles, let's say they got like a 20-minute ride, 20-mile ride there, you're going to charge them the $45 for the first 10 miles, and anything after 10 miles, you're going to charge them the $2 a mile. And it's the same equation coming back unless they have a deviation of some sort. When it comes down to wheelchair transportation, typically I like to charge a client, $75, one way. Then that's the first leg. And then the second leg, bringing them back, is going to be additional $75. If we have to go over 10 miles, like we go to Charlotte sometimes from, Raleigh or Durham, we typically charge around $2.50 a mile. Now, you can take it up to $3 a mile because I noticed that there are companies out there that do charge $3 a mile. And I've seen some companies that charge $3.50 a mile. It all depends on your comfortability level. I noticed that when we first started back in 2015, in this industry, 2014, 2015, I was a little shy of my prices because whenever a person would call, it was like I was nervous to give them my prices because of rejection. I was like, but you have to realize that in this industry, there are going to be people that is going to accept your prices, and they're going to be like, oh, that's great, that's cheap. And then you're going to also have some people that's going to be like, that's too expensive. Prime example, I had a transport to Washington, D.C., pick up a guy and bring him back to Wilson, North Carolina some years ago. So I messed up. I did it wrong, and I'm just being blunt with you. I charged the client basically for picking them up from DC and bringing them back. I never charged them for going up there. So I only made $500 off that trip, when in reality I could have made, additional money, an extra $500 plus taxes and all that type of stuff. I did not know at the time, and that's the mistake that I made by going over state lines. So you have to make sure that you know to charge these people over 10 miles because you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot. When it came down to doing a trip to Cape Cod, Massachusetts from Raleigh, North Carolina, I charged the client the same way. The same ordeal. So the bill came up to like $8,000. And then, I processed the payment, everything was cool. So that's what we charge. Now, some people, they like to charge the wheelchair loading fee and the wheelchair unloading fee. So a lot of times there are some companies in the Raleigh area, they charge like $50 to load and then $50 to unload. So that equivalates to almost the same thing. And then what they do is they charge like the mileage and stuff like that over a certain amount of mileage and things to that degree. Now, when it comes down to you transporting people before 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., whatever your service times is, say if you say you open your doors up at 7 o'clock and you have somebody that needs a special request for 5 a.m., you charge them a premium rate. Typically, I like to charge $25 extra for a premium rate for going out before my service time and anything after 6 o'clock. So if you got somebody that says, I really need this pickup at like 7 o'clock tonight from the airport, you charge them that premium rate. So that's how we do it. One thing too, we also charge for wheelchair rental rates. We charge $25 for a rental to rent a wheelchair. A lot of times where you would fall into play with this is a lot of times after hours, if you are doing like emergency room discharges at night, sometimes these people they get sent to the ER and they may be in a wheelchair, they may be in a power chair. EMS is not going to transport your wheelchair, your power chair to the hospital. So what's going to happen, you're going to get to the hospital, you're going to get your treatment, and let's just say they discharge you the same night, or let's just say they discharge you the next day. So what's going to happen is you're going to be in the hospital bed, you got to get home. Guess what? You don't have no wheelchair, and you need to transport back to your house. So that's where we come into play. You charge them your rates, and typically hospital discharges, I like to keep it at 125, even though you would charge. It seemed like you would charge the $75 one way. Discharges 125 to make it well worth it. But when it comes down to the rental rates, I charge $25 for the wheelchair rental rates. Now, let's talk about something very important. One thing that's very important and has really ticked me off in the last years and years is you have some clients that say, I need you to pick up my father from the house and transport him to the doctor's appointment. Cool. Sir, do you have any steps? And these are some of the questions you're going to have to ask this, because you don't want to not ask it and get to the house and then they got like 6 steps, and then you got your most petite driver that's there to pick them up and she can't get them off, from the house. So that's the thing about it. It used to be where we still do carry like wheelchair ramps, foldable wheelchair ramps in our vans. We got like 2 vans that have them, and you deploy them on the steps if they're not steep. Now, if they're steep, we don't do it. But if they are to the point where maybe you got 6 steps and we deploy like the portable ramps that you put on your steps, we used to do it for free. It was like complimentary. But what happened is a lot of clients, they get you to transport their father or their mother the first time, and you transport them using your ramps. You take that risk, that liability, you get them there. The next time they call you, oh, bring your ramp. So now, the more times you go over there, the more times they're getting reliant on you using your ramp. Your whole objective is to make them feel uncomfortable enough to buy their own ramps and to use their own ramps, because, guys, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of liability putting ramps on the steps. Okay, now we can talk about doing a waiver, to where we can release ourselves from liability from that. But at the same time, who wants to keep deploying ramps on their steps? So I had a client that kept doing that. So this is where we changed our policy last year. When a client kept calling, they wanted us to transport the person out of the house. Then their yard is like inverted and it had tree stumps in it. And we had to take them down backwards, get them over the tree stumps, get them in the van. By the time you get them on the van, way down the hill, you are tired. So I implemented a new policy with RDU Medical Transport, and I charged the client $10 per step. So guess what happened? So whenever I did that, that's when, oh my God, $10 a step? Yeah, $10 a step. So then next thing you know it, 2 weeks later, they got a ramp. So You got to be mindful of that, because sometimes you got certain people that will try to get over and become self-reliant on you using your ramp. And the thing about it is too, you got to be careful, because my good heart was getting people out of bed, doing this, doing that, and the third. You got to be careful, because there's liability in that too. A lot of times, people, you get to their house, they're gonna want you to use the Hoyer lift to get their mom or dad out of bed. If you are being that generous, be careful, because the moment you use a Hoyer lift and you drop them, they're gonna look at you. You're at fault. Blah 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 blah. Those are the things. So I just want you to be mindful of that as well. Um, you know, like I stated, I named the wheelchair rates. I don't do gurneys. I don't do stretcher transportation. So I can't really tell you much about their charges. I do see what some companies do charge, but that's not my area of expertise for is that. Um, Now you can charge for going out in inclement weather. You can charge them a premium rate for that. Christmas holidays. Let's talk about that. Biggest thing about it is transporting on holidays. You can charge a premium rate for that, but typically, whenever we were doing like Christmas Day transports years ago and like Thanksgiving, we were charging like $100. We was new to the game. We was charging like $100 per person, and we was getting like 9 trips a day on Christmas and Thanksgiving. So what we were doing, we was picking up, and then we would drop off so many of them, and then pick back up and take them back to nursing homes. So we did pretty good with there. So we didn't really charge them a premium rate then, but we would charge a premium rate now. Not a lot to really hurt them to like, oh my God, that's so expensive. But at the same time, you have to realize you have fuel, you have gas, you have all that type of stuff. Now, let's talk about nursing homes, okay? So when it comes to nursing homes, let's just say your regular rate is $75 one way within 10 miles and then additional $250 a mile, whatever the case may be. Now, nursing homes, when you're contracted with nursing homes, sometimes you're going to give them a discount. You're going to give them a break, because obviously they're bringing the volume into you. So what we normally charge for a nursing home is typically $80 for a dialysis transport, and if it goes over 10 miles, we charge the mileage. So it's $80 round trip for a dialysis transport. And you do the math, it adds up. It's volume, it brings revenue. So we give the bigger places discounts and stuff to that nature. And then with regular clients, like going to dialysis, where we would normally charge $140, $50, we would normally charge them like $90 or $100 round trip if it's under 10 miles or 20 miles, round trip and things to that nature. That's pretty much that for us, now, if you do a dialysis transport, let me explain this to you. I wouldn't charge them, just from my experience, I would not charge them daily. Don't like take a credit card and charge them every day. You can send them an invoice at every week that you're doing dialysis through Square. That's the platform that we use. So every, say all my dialysis patients at the end of the Friday, we come right here in my office, and what we do is we send an invoice to their email accounts, and then they'll open it up and pay it. Or you can just get a check from the client, as we still do checks. But and that's another thing I'm gonna talk to you about in a minute about checks. But we can, tend to, send an invoice out at the end of the week, and they'll pay it. Never had a problem with a client not paying their bills. It's a little bit different than the limo industry, because the limo industry, I'll be like, nah, we're not taking no checks. We're not doing that. We're not paying at the end, because we just don't trust people. But with the medical transportation world, we do an invoice at the end of every week. Now with taking checks, cash, credit card, I still take checks, because I kind of use my judgment to know we're going to your house, we're transporting you. You kind of use your judgment there. And I never had a problem. Never had a problem with somebody bouncing a check or anything to that nature. It's just the clientele is a little different. Now, not saying it can't happen, but we tend to really, kind of play a judge of character with that. So, with that being said, I think that's all about I can really mention about the payments and things to that nature. For as insurance companies, we really don't bill insurance companies. We pretty much do all private pay, and we do nursing homes and stuff to that nature, if that makes sense. We don't deal in the Medicaid. Medicaid has their own platform where you bill them through there. Not knocking anybody from doing Medicaid. Do Medicaid. Go forth with Medicaid. Have a ball with Medicaid. But we, at my company, we don't deal with Medicaid. But guys, it's been real. Thank you so much. I wanted to share with you the rates. And if you guys got any questions, feel free to be nice and be in place some questions in the comments, and I'll respond to them. This year is a year of growth. This is a year of prosperity. This is a year of going up to higher heights and deeper levels. So if you guys were sitting on those visions last year, guess what? It's time to bring those things to pass this year. I could be charging for these videos. A lot of people say I could be charging for these videos, but in reality, I'm giving these videos away for free based off experience, because, a lot of times it's hard to find good information from people that really want to share it. And yeah, I could be charging, and I tell people ask me all the time, like, well, why don't you charge? You're giving away free information. It's because I wasn't led to, but at the same time, hey, want to leave a love offering? Hey, I can't stop you. Thank you, for the gift and the love offerings of it. But, for as me and my motto is, I'm going to share the information, the knowledge, and the wealth of information I've obtained over the years. And the thing about me, whatever I don't know, I'm going to find out and share with you. And, I'm basically just trying to, share the knowledge across the world. I've reached many people around Uganda, Haiti, the Virgin Islands. I've been invited to many different places to teach on medical transportation. Some places I go, some places I, don't go. I have to feel led to go. I have to feel safe to go. Some places I have no business going, but at the same time, I'm doing this because this is like my ministry, and I try to reach everybody that I possibly can. I try to talk to everybody that I can through my phone. I try to respond back to everybody, but sometimes it's hard to, because I have so much going on with, managing my business and responding back to everybody. So my thing is, if you're reaching out to me in the past and you was not able to do it, and you got upset with me because, hey, you didn't respond back to me and blah, 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 try again, guys. I'm human. I'm sorry. I do the best I can do. Everybody nowadays is trying to get into this industry all across the world, and then they see free information. They see a guy that has been doing it for so long. Everybody's going to flock to get information. So that's why if you reached out to me and I can't get back to you, I haven't responded back, I'm sorry. I apologize. But, hey, it's hard sometimes. But guys, it's been real. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Love you all. And it's time to make those visions come true.